August 30, 2022. You're watching the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal, the International. Thanks for joining us. My name is Gladys Ambodiba. Stay tuned for our major stories. Of an imminent lake explosion in Apalin in the mentioned division, northwest region of Cameroon. 36 years after the devastating Lake Nyos disaster, there are signs a similar catastrophe might hit the division once again. Lake Apalin in Bafmen has been emanating strange colors and odors that has left the inhabitants panic-stricken. They have called on the government and scientific community to act fast to preempt a disaster. A criminal gang in Cameroon's economic city, popularly known as the Microbe, who have been terrorizing the population, are currently in the dragnet of security forces that were presented to the press in Douala today. And as some government ministers in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, are currently delivering a press conference as Cameroon prepares for the resumption of the new academic year, the government ministers are unveiling measures to ensure an effective school resumption. And in this newscast, we shall be talking about boarding schools as an arena of discipline or a dungeon for learners. The choice of parents sending their children to a boarding or day school depends on various factors, which you will find in this edition of the newscast. These are our headlines. Details right ahead.
Canal International. Canal International.
Good evening once again, and thanks for joining us on the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal, the International. We begin with this human interest story. A criminal gang in Douala, popularly known as Le Microbe, inhabitants of the Douala or Ancien Troisième in Douala and some neighborhoods have expressed fears of the unknown as this popular gang of criminals have been attacking and inflicting wounds on them and depriving them of their property. The gang, which is currently under the dragnet of security forces in Cameroon's economic city, Douala, were presented to the press today, and the population was called to collaborate in order to put an end to growing insecurity in the town. Morinzi has more.
This is Ancien Troisième in Douala, reputed as a major hub of cell phones and other electronic gadgets. The fear of the known is omnipresent 2 weeks after a group of alleged criminals who call themselves Le Microbe attacked traders, broke into their shops and emptied its contents. In the process, they inflicted matched wounds on whoever they met on their way. Traders with heavy casualties are yet to recover from the attack as their shops have remained closed. Those who witnessed the scene refuse to open up to reporters, raising fears of what may happen next. This Tuesday, August 30, the same terror gang was presented to the public at the Mobile Intervention Brigade in Douala.
We had a situation at the Marché Congo, precisely at the Ancien Troisième, where a group of about 40 suspects attacked the market and did away with so many objects. 2 days after, we arrested the first suspect, who is by name Issa.
The 11 suspects aged between 17 and 24 were caught in possession of machetes and a good quantity of Indian herb, well preserved in a lady's handbag.
The level is to take them to the judicial police, who has the competence to carry further investigations.
With growing criminality in Douala, security officials have called on the population to brave their fear and denounce all suspects.
We discovered during our investigations that most of the population in the neighborhoods, they have the right information, but they are afraid to collaborate with us. So we can assure you that collaborate with us, call us, give us the right information, and we'll hit on time and get good results.
According to reports, dozens of the same gang of the Microbe are already at the Newbold Central Prison. Meantime, security officers continue on manhunts of others still on the run.
And 36 years after the devastating Lake Nyos disasters, fears arrive a similar situation might befall another community in the mentioned division of the northwest region of Cameroon. The Lake Apalin in Bafmen for the past 3 days has been emanating strange signs, colors and odor that has left the population panic-stricken. The population has sent a distress call to the government and the scientific community to act fast in order to avert the 1986 disaster. And Regina Leketanda says in a report that the situation is that bad that it has sent the population fleeing. Her report.
It's been 3 days of sleepless nights for the people of Bafmen, Menchum division of the Northwest region, following strange signs emanating from the Lake Apalin.
Since 3 days ago, this lake is bubbling, changing colors. Water is coming up and going down. People are afraid. You can see women from all places running from farm. People abandoning farm to run home.
It is a situation that has raised fears of a repeat of the similar deadly 1986 Lake Nyos disaster, especially as some survivors of the disaster relocated to Bafmen speak of similar signs.
So one go back for push.
We were going to the farm, and when we got to the Lake Apalin, we realized the color of the lake was changing to somewhat bluish yellow with some marshy substances. We also got a nauseatic odor, and because we were scared, we decided to turn back. The survivors of the Lake Nyos disaster, who were relocated around Apalin, are even the ones who asked us to go back, noting these were the same signs before the Lake Nyos disaster.
The people are sending a distress call to government and to the scientific community.
Please, scientists, people that can see exactly what is happening, let them should come before time so that tomorrow it will not be too late.
Calls they hope would yield fruits to avert what looks like a ticking time bomb.
And we move over to Mwanko, still talking about the environment. Essentially, our fishing community in Mwanko in the Senegal Maritime Division of the littoral region of Cameroon is embracing agriculture to reduce the pressure on aquatic resources. And with the exponential rise in the prices of fertilizer, the people are transforming household waste to compost. And for the first time, rice cultivation was tested in Mwanko with positive or impressive harvest. Regina Leketanda traveled to Mwanko and came back with this report.
From eggshells to plantain and cassava skins, household wastes are here been given a second life as they get transformed to compost.
We are witnessing a typical example of what is turning trash into treasure. Just behind me, you can clearly see a heap of biodegradable waste.
We journeyed to Yapenda, a locality in the village of Kangazok in Mwanko, Senegal Maritime Division of the littoral region, where the magic all happens. Mwanko is a typically fishing community, and the people highly depend on mangrove wood to smoke fish. Additionally, the few people who practice agriculture do slash and burn. It was a zeal to curb environmental degradation that this project was born.
On combine la protection de l'environnement et l'amélioration.
In this project, we are protecting the environment and at the same time improving agricultural productivity. The agricultural practice our people have known for long is cutting the forest and burning. The first year, the yields can be very good, but subsequently productivity drops because soil nutrients have been destroyed.
The organic fertilizer generated is composed of nutrients that can help the crops thrive.
In the compost produced, we have the same properties like what you find in chemical fertilizers, notably nitrogen, phosphorus and magnesium, which help the plants to grow well.
And one of such plants that has done extremely well is rice.
We benefit some fertilizer from them that we should test. So this, when you look around, we just test the company and see how the fertilizer can be good. We receive it, then when we planted it, then when they germinated, we place on around the rice. Then now when it grows up, it was very good.
The project, piloted by a local NGO, Mwanko Horizon 2000, flagged off with sensitization of local people, followed by several hands-on training on compost production and by the distribution of trash cans. The overall vision has been to bring the people of Mwanko to understand they can better manage waste. What has today been described as a true success story of turning trash to treasure.
And we move from the environment to education. Some 5 government ministers are currently delivering a press conference in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, as Cameroon prepares to start the new school year. The government ministers are unveiling measures taken to ensure an effective school resumption. Hyacinth Chia is currently at the Ministry of Communication and gives us updates of the press briefing. Hello, Hyacinth.
Good evening. Joint press conference here between 5 members of government, the Minister of Communication, the Minister of Secondary Education, as well as her colleague of the Basic Education, Laurent Serge Tundingwa, and the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Lay, as well as the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Tanganji. On the discussion table definitely is back to school. As we are barely 5 days to back to school, the Minister of Secondary Education and her colleague of the Basic Education will definitely be unveiling to Cameroonians the plan for this academic year 2022-2023. And of course the security challenges in the country, I think that has necessitated the presence of the Minister of Territorial Administration, who is here represented, to be able to paint the picture of some security challenges, especially in the challenging regions like the Northwest and the Southwest regions, as well as other regions of the country. And the issue of unpaid teachers that has necessitated the presence of the Minister of the Public Service and Administrative Reforms to tell us exactly where are they with the regularization of the unpaid teachers that have been threatening to go on a strike if nothing is done as far as their demands are concerned. We shall be waiting for the full resolutions that come out from this ministerial press briefing. The Ministry of Communication, Hyacinth Chia and Constant Kamga.
Thanks so much, Hyacinth Chia. And we're still talking about school resumption for the 2022-2023 academic year. But what are some of the factors that direct parents' choices of a school for their children, especially those in secondary schools? Here we are talking about boarding and these schools. Our newsrooms took special interest in that subject and talked to some parents and their reactions. You have them in this report.
Those with the Anglo-Saxon culture see boarding schools as an arena of discipline and excellence.
The boarding schools were made in such a way that students are confined in an environment so conducive for studies. There was discipline, there was competition for academics, and therefore you saw that the majority of schools that actually performed well during the GCE were mostly boarding schools. And therefore, many parents saw boarding school as a way of bringing excellence in their students.
Eric Ayute is a parent who spent his secondary school days in a boarding house and prefers such facilities for the moral upbringing of children.
Their mind is actually confined within a moral cycle, permits the children to be well monitored.
I believe it is advantageous from 1 to 5 for a student to be under the monitor of the parents and under the control and surveillance of the parents. And then, as from 5 or let's say from lower seat to upper seat, the child can now go to the boarding school where he must have had some basic moral education from the parents. So many students have actually undergone serious failures while in the dormitory schools. And we even realize that some students, once they come from holidays out of the boarding schools, they actually behave as if they were actually in a prison.
Peer influence and discipline, some parents believe, is better coordinated in boarding houses than in day schools.
Opposed to day schools, you see the in-between school and home. The children, they meet within persons whom we can't say we can guarantee, especially in big towns like Douala and Yaoundé, where the town has been infested with drug addicts. And in day schools in Bamenda, you see now the schools also there's a lot of insecurity.
Some parents told us off camera that the boarding facilities nowadays are different from the yesteryears, as they have been negatively impacted by technological advancement and love for money. A school, be it a day or boarding facility, however, remains a place that nurture, encourage and spur creativity, imagination and learning in children.
And Cameroon and the Democratic Republic of Congo have embarked on the reviewing and proper demarcation of some boundary pillars that remain unclear to the two countries. The Technical Commission have begun work in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, this Tuesday as they prepare to embark on field work. Hi, Sentia, once again.
There is an unclear picture of the boundaries demarcation between the Republic of Cameroon and the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, coming together in their first meeting in Yaoundé this August 30th, chaired by the Cameroon Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, in the presence of the Congolese ambassador to Cameroon, Zeferen Kibidi. The Joint Technical Commission from Cameroon and Congo is strategizing on earmarking standard pillars in the field through a cream of experts.
We have these boundaries which were imposed by our colonial masters, and we need to have a clear picture of the pillars which were put in place. Some of them are already not very visible. It's our own responsibility to bring them back so that we can position them and render account to our heads of states who have given us the mandate to do this very, very important and delicate exercise.
A reality shared by both governments, as the head of the Congolese delegation reaffirms the need to revisit historical facts and concretize them at the moment. Our boundaries are delimited and not demarcated. These dates over 114 years today, from 1908 to 2020, before our two countries gained national sovereignty. So it is important to have a clear demarcation to say it is here or there with a point of fingers for our two countries to respect. These to consolidate the friendly ties that exist between the two countries.
We have a very cordial relation between the Republic of Cameroon and the Republic of Congo when it comes to border issues. So at that level, we have no major preoccupations.
After a 2 days consultation between the experts in Yaoundé, the two delegations will go down to the field in Sangmelima, Mintom, and Goila to establish comprehensive reports.
It is with that report that we wrap up this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. The French edition will be yours at 7:50 p.m. with Alain Ghislain Kanga. Up next is Debrief de l'Actualité with Lil Piedju. I will be yours again tomorrow, same time, God willing. Bye-bye.